Welcome back to Marbella Now. My name is Nicole King, and I just love being back here in the studio at RTV Marbella, particularly when I get a chance to welcome one of my favourite people on the planet, not just in Marbella, and that is Lily van Tongeren, one of the most interactive, active volunteers for AAA Marbella that you could imagine. Lily, how are you? You look wonderful.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Thanks for having me. I'm fine, thank you. Regardless the restrictions and everything that are there, we're doing great.
You are doing great. And before we talk about anything else, I want to get a bit up close and personal. But talking about restrictions, you had a fabulous gala dinner organised at Puente Romano to raise funds for AAA, and suddenly more restrictions came in, more lockdowns came in. But a very quick reaction turned it into one of the first events to become the luncheon event. Tell us about the event, how it went, what happened, how did you cope with the panic of the last minute?
Well, the restrictions started after the planning, of course, with Puente Romano, and it was actually at that time that they were still allowed to be in the evening. So the evening went really well. It was totally sold out, which was a surprise because the tickets, of course, weren't very cheap. But it was a wonderful evening. Everybody came dressed up, really, really good and nice costumes. We had some wonderful prizes for the raffle and good food, of course. Puente Romano.
Your costume was spectacular. Who did that for you?
I did that myself.
You did that yourself?
Yeah. I love wearing costumes and making costumes.
But the makeup, I mean the makeup, you did that yourself as well? I thought you had it professionally done.
No, I did that myself.
Did anybody recognize you when you were there?
Nobody recognized me, luckily.
I didn't recognize you, and it was only long after that. My God, that's Lily.
Yes.
So a fabulous Halloween event, and of course you had the Prince tribute there with our lovely Thomas. So that was really good and really nice. So you raised a lot of money?
Yeah, we raised quite a lot of money, and also they donated from that money a new washing machine, which we desperately needed, an industrial washing machine. So it was very, very successful. Yes, very, very grateful for Puente Romano to support us. They've done that several times. We had, of course, the wonderful Christmas dinner last year. We raised quite a lot of money, and now this one again. So yeah, thanks to Puente Romano for putting everything together for AAA.
Lily, have you always been passionate about dogs and cats to the degree that you are now, or is this just developed with retirement and seeing the need?
Well, I guess a little bit of both. I was always very loving for animals. I wasn't allowed to have them. We lived in an apartment in Holland when I grew up. The only animal that I could get were little chicks. So once in a while, and when they grew up, I had to bring them to the farm. No dogs, no cats, but I always loved them. And the first dog I had, I was already an adult. So it wasn't, my life didn't evolve around animals as much as it does now. So yes, because of the retirement, because of having the time, having the possibility, having the place, having, met AAA when we came here to Spain for the first time just to offer some services in volunteering, it grew and grew and grew.
How long ago was that?
About 14, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, I came to for the winter months, we came to Marbella, and we said, well, if we're going to be here several months, we have to do something. So I had seen at that time AAA stand at the market, and I thought, well, maybe we should ask them to see if there's anything we can do. So Tom and I went there, and we met another Dutch girl at that time, Diana. She works for AAA already also many, many years. And we just offered our help. We said, we are here for a few months. We would like to do something. We have some time. Can we come and help? Can we paint? Can we build a cage? Can we do whatever you need? And then she says, I know what you can do. We just got in a few puppies and they really, really are too small to stay here. Can you please foster them? So long story short, we took the little puppies home, never had them in my life, but it went well, and we both loved it very much, and that's kind of how the ball started rolling. So every time we came, because the first few years we came only in the winter months, every time we would go to AAA and we would foster some puppies and help out in that way. And then when we came here full-time, of course, the things that I have, the knowledge about marketing, public relations, sales, etc., I started implementing for AAA.
And you've done a great job. I mean, you are the face of AAA, whether you like it or not.
Apparently, yes.
You are now living in Marbella. It looks like you're very, very settled.
Yes.
You've lived everywhere. You've travelled everywhere. I mean, you have such a rich experience of life that I really want to talk about in a bit more detail. I mean, including like nude modeling, and I mean, like, really just such different things. What brought you to Marbella? I mean, because you've been in so many places. Why Marbella?
Mainly because my sister lived here, or lives here. And that was a cause to come, of course, and that's how it started going. Then my parents, when they were retired, they would come in the winter months and stay here as well. And then, if possible, I would come and visit when I came back from Canada and England. I would come and visit my sister, and when I came here for the first time, it just felt so good. It felt so home. So even in the very beginning that I came, which is like 35 years ago, when I came here for the first time, I thought, oh, I want to live here, I want to live here. But then, of course, life goes as it goes, and things happen as they happen. And it didn't occur until I had met my husband, and we got married. Then it started to all fall into place. So probably if I had come when I was much younger, it would not have been right. But now everything, as it goes in life, it happens when it needs to happen.
Exactly, things just happen when they need to happen.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Without a doubt. When you were a little girl, did you imagine that you would end up living in a foreign country, meeting the love of your life, getting married in a tribal ceremony? I mean, like, tell us about that. That would sound like it must have been a lot of fun. I mean, not only that, but the both of you on the same page. Yeah, let's go and have a tribal ceremony.
Well, when I met Tom, I was about 45 years old already. I'd never been married before. I had friends, of course. And basically, right from the beginning, I felt that this was the man I was going to have to get old with, if I wanted to or not. It just felt that way, and I did want, of course. I'm not, as you say, not a regular person. It's not for me to go to a city hall in a white dress and have all the bridesmaids and blah, blah, blah. It was just not for me. So that's, so I told him, I said, if I ever get married, I'd like to get married with my heart and not with all the entourage around it. And I'd like to get married as natural as possible. And then I mentioned either with the Indians in North America or with the Maasai in Kenya. And I guess he just kind of remembered that. And after a year of our relationship, he organized this all by himself with a travel agency for us to go to Kenya and get married in a tribal village of the Maasai.
Did you know before you went to Kenya you were getting married? Did
No.
he propose there? Tell us more.
Well, I knew we were going to get married. And I knew it was going to...
How did he propose?
The first time it was with a bunch of flowers. It was still in Holland. He took me for dinner, and then the owner of the restaurant came with a big bouquet of flowers, and somewhere in the flowers was the engagement ring. And that's how he proposed. And then after that, we had talked about marriage, but didn't really know, and particularly a set date or whatever. But the 23rd of August was the day I met him, and we've kept that always as a celebratory day. So every month on the 23rd we do something special, because we are, okay, of course we weren't...
That's nice. How many years has that been now?
As of last week, Sunday, it was the 23rd, or Monday, it was the 23rd. That is 23 years and 3 months.
23 years and 3, and I love the fact that for 23 years and 3 months you celebrate the 23rd of each month.
Yes, just because we never thought we were going to make it that long. I mean, a 25th year anniversary, I didn't think we were going to make that. So we thought, well, we might as well celebrate every time when we have a reason. So this Sunday we had to do it on a Sunday instead of the Monday, because we wanted to have the Sunday lunch in this new restaurant from Playwright, which was great.
Isn't it lovely?
Yes,
The
very
decoration
nice.
is just fabulous.
They've done an absolutely wonderful job, and their attention to detail, not only in the decoration but in the service and in the food, is absolutely commendable.
Yeah, I ate there a couple of weeks ago, and they've got nice new things on the menu,
Yes.
and it was really, really delicious and fun.
Yes.
I know, it's entertaining. The whole atmosphere is just...
It was a wonderful afternoon, and specifically now when you cannot go... I mean, we're so used to go out dining in the evening and have a whole entourage around it. But, I mean, it didn't make any difference, because everything was great, and it didn't matter what time you were there. You were having a wonderful meal and a drink and a great time to be there. So that's how we celebrated.
I'm kind of like lunchtime celebrations, like the lunch we had that we started at 1 and finished at 8. They're chatting, but I like a lunchtime get together.
Yes.
So although it's a shame we can't go out at night, I don't dislike going out and having a good time during the day and then just go home and relax and...
Yeah, specifically in the winter time, I think it's much nicer to go out in the afternoon if you want to go out instead of in the evening when you prefer to be at home and nice and cozy and warm.
Particularly with the weather we're having these days, although we do need the rain, as long as it rains little by little. Anyway, we're going to go to a break. Don't go away, Lily. Don't you go away either. We'll be back in just a few moments. We're going to hear a message from Linear Director, their wonderful insurance policy with a company that actually does care. They really do follow through with their word, and they do put our needs first. And also our Zero Hero partners, welcoming you for a free drink for designated drivers. Certainly worth checking out. Don't go away. Back with Lily in just a moment.
Judy likes to consider herself a clever young woman, which is why she thought very carefully before choosing her insurance company. Now that she needs it, she's jolly glad she chose Linear Director, as it looks as if she might have something better to do. Why don't you be clever, like Judy? Call Linear Director on 952 14 78 34 and see which policy is best for you.
When I'm the designated driver, I think it's only fair that I get to choose a Zero Hero venue that rewards me with free soft drinks. My friends all get to choose and booze, and they feel safe going home with me. Make sure that you get your reward for being the designated driver. Why pay if you don't have to?
Zero Hero, welcome to the playwright.
Hello guys, welcome to Harbor. All the designated drivers are welcome here to the Harbor. And we are very proud to be a Zero Hero partner.
G-Wine is happy to be Zero Hero partner.
Clara are proud to present Zero to Hero. Never drink and drive.
Yes, I mean, do you think that's across the piece?
Please.
McNulty's is proud to be a Zero Hero partner.
Hi guys, Ross here from Hogan Stand. Proud to be a member of the Zero Hero campaign. And we recommend everybody. Nobody drives drinking. Everybody who drives a car doesn't have any alcohol in their system, and we're proud to sponsor the Zero Hero program.
If you've just tuned in, I'm chatting with Lily Van Tongeren, the most interactive volunteer at AAA Marbella's Animal Rescue Centre. Just before the break, we were talking about her Maasai wedding in Kenya, got sidetracked talking about how she and her other half celebrate their anniversary every 23rd of the month. But I want to hear more, Lily. Tell us, what is a Maasai wedding like? How do you organise a Maasai wedding?
Well, I didn't organise it at all. I only knew we were going to go. I didn't know where or what, only the time. When we got to the airport in Amsterdam, he said, well, you look at the television and think where we're going. And then I saw Kenya, and I knew it was Kenya. So we went to Kenya. He had arranged everything with the travel agency and taken him a long, long time. We went on safari, and during the safari, we were staying in tents. During the safari, it was close to a Maasai village. On the day of the wedding, we were driven there. Then we were taken apart, the man and the woman. We only had a girl with us from Australia and a man and his daughter from Japan. They were the only ones with us on the safari, which was great because it felt all continents are being represented. And so I was put into a hut, a real Maasai hut. They were very careful because they'd never seen white people there before in this particular village. And they dressed me up in all their traditional clothing. We got painted all red in the face. Flies, of course, everywhere, but I didn't mind. I mean, it was so special. And I really, really felt very, very good, you know.
Yeah,
very
natural,
deep inside.
wholesome.
Very natural, very, very... It was so absolutely beautiful, and the women, they were all so nice, and they didn't, I mean, we couldn't communicate, but we communicated. And the children, they were all picking at Tom's skin, because, of course, they don't have hair on their skin, so they were looking at Tom. And then we were together in one hut, and we had a translator. There was a translator organized, and there was the elder of the village. He was an old man, and he had 3 wives, and the youngest wife and him, they were kind of my parents at that time. And they gave a speech to Tom, and Tom had to pay several blankets, which were provided, so he handed over the blankets, 20 cows. However, we didn't have the 20 cows at that time. But the funny thing was that the man told him to be a good husband and to take care of me, etc., etc. And I had to be a good wife. He gave Tom a big thin stick, and he said if I wasn't a good wife, he was allowed to beat me, but only on the soft parts, so that it wouldn't hurt too much and it wouldn't show. So anyway, so it was a big ceremony then, and afterwards we came out of the hut, and all the women and the warriors were all kind of cheering. Then we had to walk out. That was the most beautiful part. I had to walk outside the village. There's only one little gate because there's bushes all around the village to keep the wild animals out, etc., etc. And I walked out with my parents and Tom and some of the warriors. And I was not allowed to look back to the village. You're not, when you leave, when you're married, you go to the village of your husband and usually stay with his parents. I wasn't allowed to look back. I was not allowed to come back to my family or to the village until I was pregnant, and then I would come and I would birth there. Of course, all those things weren't in the picture for me. But anyway, so this is, you know, their thing. Then they drove us back to the camp where the women came, and we had they had prepared a goat. They had killed a goat, and they prepared a goat, and it was like a nice lunch and dinner with the women of the village. And they were all very excited, and then I sat down with them in the grass, and I showed them nail polish, and it was so funny. And then we had a rest, and my parents were also in another tent, and they were rest. And in the evening, we had the celebration with the warriors, and it was the most beautiful thing. It was a big campfire. There were no other tourists allowed, only the few people that were with us. And the warriors kind of danced around the fireplace, and then they started the jumping, you know, that you know from the Maasai, the big jumping, and the oh, 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 oh. It was just absolutely like a fairy tale. It was just absolutely beautiful. And that was the wedding.
I mean, spectacular.
Spectacular.
Spectacular, something you obviously will never forget.
Never forget.
And that was an exciting story. Yes. I mean, I could just felt like I was there. It was just
it was absolutely wonderful. And the Maasai, the people, they were all very friendly and nice, and it wasn't a touristy type of thing. They had never had it before there. As I said, the children had never seen white people, and definitely not in their village. And it was pure. It was very, very pure, and I really felt like it was my father, and it was my mother, and it was my village, and it was my people. And it was very, very beautiful.
How lovely. Yes. Ubuntu.
Yes,
just like,
yes.
oh, sounds wonderful. But it's nice that you can see that you feel privileged in life. You're very much in love with your other half. You have a lovely family. And it's nice that you add that love, but also that same enthusiasm and passion that you're talking now in everything you do. I mean, it's like, some might say it's OTT because you're that enthusiastic. It devastates you to know that there are, how many animals are in AAA right now?
Well, with the cats and the dogs, there will be about 500.
So you've got 300-400 dogs?
At the moment, a little bit less, between the 250 and the 3, and the rest is cats.
So that's a lot of mouths to feed,
yes.
A lot of poop to clear up.
Yes.
How's AAA coping?
Well, of course, a lot of things have happened with the COVID changes, and also the operation of AAA. For one thing is that we are closed to the public still. People cannot just come up and go in. They have to make an appointment. The adoption program goes by appointment. People write to the website. Then they can make an appointment to see the dogs that they would like to maybe adopt, and that will all be taken care of then. There is still volunteers coming. There's only 4 volunteers per shift allowed to kind of clean in the morning, clean in the afternoon, and clean in the early evening. Of course, all the workers are there because no matter what, the workers have to be there and are working. The events, of course, are very limited. the influx of dogs it stays kind of regular. We did not get more dogs because of the COVID.
But you did initially, right? At the beginning, I mean, I understand it, people were throwing dogs out, they were terrified that they were going to catch something from them.
Yeah, well, not in our shelter. I heard around it in the countryside and everywhere, but we really didn't get, we could get dogs in practically every day. And sometimes there's 10 a day, and sometimes there's 2 a day, and sometimes it's just 1 a day. And that kind of continued constantly all the time. We did get in quite a few puppies. As you know, a couple of weeks ago we had a nest of a box with 11 puppies. Luckily they've been adopted because puppies usually go fast. The thing I'm worried about sometimes is the older dogs that stay behind, and because people aren't allowed to come and look, it becomes a bit more difficult. So only the people who are really interested in adopting have to go through the website. So that takes a little bit more time and a little bit more effort.
But perhaps that's not a bad thing. If you want something, to take the steps to get it, I think maybe just weeds out a few people in the process, because having an animal requires paperwork, administrative stuff, apart from medical bills. So I think perhaps having a few more procedures in front,
it is absolutely, that way it is
beneficial.
absolutely better. Yes, you're absolutely right in that. That's much better. But it does limit, of course, a little bit of the busyness at AAA, which I don't mind, and I'm sure Bettina doesn't mind, because sometimes a lot of people would come as a family visit on Sunday afternoon just to have something to do and to see the dogs. So that kind of calmed down a little. And so yeah, we're still operating as usual. And
dog walking on Saturdays?
Dog walking on Saturday also is limited. It's mainly a group of people that have been coming for years, and people can still apply. They now have to apply. Before it was so free. Everybody could just show
up on a Saturday.
Just show up and on a Saturday walk the dogs for a couple of hours or however long you wanted. That is not possible anymore. You'd have to kind of apply for it or let them know that you'd like to come, so that they will meet you and tell you what needs to be done. So
is that the same for whether it's for coming to clean and help in any other way, in volunteering in general?
Yes.
Just apply and say, I'd like to be a volunteer, and wait to be contacted?
Yes, wait to be contacted, because there is one girl that kind of, see, in the back of the shelter, the main shelter is always a regular thing. That's where all the dogs are, that's where all the cats are. We have the cat house with the cats, of course. There is the staff, and there are always the right amount of volunteers available, and there, for the cats, we don't need that many, except for cleaning, etc. For the dogs, we have the regular workers, but it's the front that when you come into AAA, there's the big court, Plaza de Esperanza, it's called. And unfortunately, because we are so full, we've had to put several cages for dogs there. And dogs that come in will have to stay in the front for several days to make sure that they're okay, because you cannot take a dog that comes maybe from a family and put it in a shelter with God knows how many other dogs right away. So the dogs need to stay in the front so that we can see what kind of dog it is, if he is neutered or not, if he has no disease, because if he has a disease and he goes in, all the other dogs will get the disease. So therefore, there will always be dogs in the front court. Also the special need dogs, which we have several of at the moment. They will stay in the front. They either sit in the office sometimes, run around in the office,
but it'd be nice to have a
cages.
few people to like adopt these animals, the ones that just need a bit more time, but they're the ones that are going to give the extra love too.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I wanted to kind of ask today, is that we have some special need dogs that sometimes need fostering or adopting, of course. Right now we have Goofy came in. She's a 14-year-old black dog that is blind and deaf, and the people who had her got divorced, and neither of them wanted to have the dog.
Oh my gosh.
So it ended up in AAA.
Oh,
unfortunately.
That poor animal.
Yes.
To be in a family.
Yes.
And to be part of a divorce.
Yes.
It blows
Unfortunately,
my mind.
those things happen. Of course, he is lost.
I want to keep my mouth shut, because it's just like the temptation of like, oh my God, I'm going to pick him up. Okay. Let's change the topic. We're running out of time.
A special place. And there are several that needs fostering. So I would like for people...
Special needs ones would be a thing.
Special
Elders, special needs. And then donations, money.
Absolutely. That's the best thing at the
Monthly
moment,
membership
always.
would be a good one. It's only, what, €5 a month?
€5 a month to become a friend of AAA. And, you know, I mean, I'm always asking for money, and people say, oh, you always need money. Yes, we always need money because costs always continue and it never stops. So, yes, people who could just afford €5 a month. If we had a lot of people for only €5 a month.
We discussed this 6 years ago.
Yes.
If we just had everybody pay €5 a month towards keeping, even if you don't like dogs, the fact that those 200-300 dogs aren't running around our streets pooping on the streets makes Marbella a better place. So even if it was an anti-poop donation, it's worth it. We have to leave it there, Lily, but I know you need bleach, supplies, mop heads, office supplies,
towels,
blankets, towels, particularly this time of year, blankets, towels, bleach, anything. And if you want to be a volunteer for AAA, just contact them and put your name on the list.
Absolutely.
Have I forgotten anything?
No, we are having some events coming up. There is one on the 3rd of December. We have one on the 14th of December and one on the 6th of December. And all information will be on the website for those.
AAA website?
Yes.
AAAmarbella.org for full information on the events coming up. And if you'd like to do an event for AAA, they'd be delighted.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Lily.
Thank you, Nicole, for always supporting us.
Always, always. And that's all we have time for today. But I will be back tomorrow to let you know what's going on in Marbella Now.
We can change if we try.